Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LALATE with a third stimulus check update about your $1,400 third stimulus check of major developing detail happening minutes ago. Also, your fourth stimulus, those multiple stimulus checks, and for the first time ever, a major update about the $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness, which looks like it's happening and could happen this Friday. I have all the breaking details, $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness, multiple stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package, and a new development about the third stimulus check of $1,400. This is Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Saturday afternoon, and how you doing? It's a big day, and we have a lot of exciting details. First, that $1,400 third stimulus check, if you did not receive it by direct deposit and you are a veteran, my predictions were exactly correct. One viewer on the video on Noontime LA said, "Thank you, LA. You're absolutely the best. You confirmed exactly what happened today." What happened today is that if you are a veteran and you did not get a third stimulus check by direct deposit so far, your deposit is next Wednesday, April 14th. This is direct express by Comerica and also the big banks. Again, this is for veterans who have not received a stimulus check yet. Your deposit is next Wednesday, April 14th. You're hearing this first on this channel. Viewers are now getting that new IRS tool update. If you're a veteran, go to the IRS Check My Stimulus Check tool. Even if there's no results in there, that's where your check will be coming, if not by the mail. Second, the major developing detail, of course, which you've been hearing all throughout today, and you'll hear tonight on Evenings LA at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, is that multiple stimulus checks running from the date in which it becomes law to the end of this year that could pay you $8,000 to $10,000, $12,000, huge sums of money. Later about that in this recording. But let me cut to the jaw-dropping breaking news, which is that $50,000 of student loan debt. How does this work? When? And what's happening? First, let's go over what's happening. But before I do that, if you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe because, boy, this is the most up-to-date, most comprehensive, and most interactive and fun channel there is. Best family and the most engaging across the board, and I'll be jumping in your live chat, so if you have questions or comments about student loan debt, bring them, and I will answer them. I see your comments right now. There's Tom, and there's Josh, and there's Carlton and Teresa and Ross. Thank you for joining me. And so make sure you subscribe. It's our 1-year anniversary at the end of this month. It's birthday month of the channel. We're trying to get to 400,000 subscribers. We're about 5,000 away. Let's do it. Also, like this video. Let's see if we can get 2,000 to 3,000 likes. And if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Meantime, coming up tonight, coming up this afternoon at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time is a sirloin special. Yes, a sirloin special is at 5:30 this afternoon before Evenings LALATE. It's a sirloin part 1 special. Then you have Evenings LALATE at 8 o'clock normal time on the East Coast. And then there is sirloin part 2 and part 3 at 10 and 10:30 tonight in the usual place where Hazard Pay is. A lot of sirloin for you, a lot of hilarious laughs. So join me on a sirloin special after this, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, followed by Evenings LALATE. Let's get to the breaking details about this $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness. Is it going to happen? I think it's going to happen. When do I think we're going to hear the announcement? Thursday. When we expected to hear the announcement? Friday. Why? 2 weeks ago yesterday, on a Friday, the President of the United States made the official announcement. His announcement was the following. He informed his education secretary to prepare a legal memo to determine the legal validity and legal authority by which a president can forgive student loan debt. The president said, I have instructed him and her to prepare the memo. I'm going to review it, and then I'm going to make my decision based upon that memo. What's going on? What's going on is the determination of whether a president can forgive student loan debt. Now, before I go more into detail, let's just take the context of that statement by the president. He's going to base it based upon a letter which determines whether a president has done this before. Elizabeth Warren, who you're going to see in a video in this recording, I have not one, but 3 videos you're going to see in this recording about this issue from Warren, Schumer, and others, says that the president does have authority to forgive student loan debt because Obama and Trump did it before as well. If she's correct, then this Thursday you could have an announcement that your student loan debt is forgiven. How would this happen if it does happen that way? The push and the determination that the president is undergoing right now is for executive order forgiveness, not by bill, not by Congress. So I've had a couple of viewers ask me, what about Congress? How long in the Congress? No, this is executive order. There is a congressional bill, but that's not what we're talking about here. This is by executive order. The president's instruction to the education secretary to prepare a deal memo where the president, by executive order, without the act of Congress, can forgive student loan debt and how much. And if the memo is exactly what Elizabeth Warren thinks it's going to say, he will do it. This is huge. How much money? Up to $50,000. How old the debt? As long as you are alive. If you're dead, then, it doesn't exist anymore. No. As old as you want the debt to be. Include private and federal debt. We don't know. We presume it's both. Do you have to apply for it? We don't know the nuances of this yet, but it's likely you don't have to do anything. It's likely it's going to be simply automatic and that the federal government will have the lenders send you a letter. There are so many events that have unfolded about this that I have been covering, and it just feels like I have grown gray hair over the subject. Why? The first time I ever heard about the subject matter was in October of last year. Right after the president had won the presidency, Chuck Schumer said that on day one, he's going to have the president forgive the student loan debt. In November, Chuck Schumer said to the president, I want you on day one to forgive the student loan debt by executive order. President said nothing. Then Chuck Schumer said it a few days later. The president said no. That was November. I remember it. It was Schumer had said on like a Tuesday, and by Friday, the press had the president answering questions about some other subject matter, and they said, "Mr. President, how about Mr. President-elect? What about Leader Schumer and his comments about student loan debt?" No. Then came January, and Leader Schumer then started to push a little bit more after he became Leader Schumer. He was previously minority leader. And then the press found the president again and asked the question, Mr. President, no. Answer's still the same. No. Well, what would you do, Mr. Well, I'd do $10,000. Over the next few weeks, we didn't know why the president wanted to do 10 versus 50. One of the articles said, and I'm just telling you what he said, not what I said. He said, if you have $50,000 of loan debt, a lot of this is very, very rich people who have gone to very expensive Ivy League schools, and they just don't want to pay their debt. And that's why I don't want to forgive it. It doesn't really encompass low-income family or households. Okay. Schumer pushed back and said that's just not true. And then over the next few weeks, Schumer and Warren introduced video after video after video asking for this to happen. And this started the rampage. Let's start and see how this heated up. This was one of the more recent videos where Schumer, Warren, and another senator talked about getting this out the door. There were 3 senators in this trio, and let's listen to what they said.
And that was no good. I was able to add it to the American Rescue Plan we just passed, so now it's law. One student debt is forgiven, no matter how much, no taxes.
It's a big deal, especially as we try to get President Biden to forgive up to $50,000 of student debt. Imagine you finally get a cancellation of your debt and you get a tax bill from the IRS. It's worth about $2,200 for every $10,000 of debt.
Thank you, Mama, for becoming the Purple Hawk.
All of a sudden, you would have gotten hit with a $6,000 tax bill from the IRS. Based upon the legislation that is now law, that the leader helped us with, we now guarantee that no student who gets relief ultimately gets a tax bill, and that's a big deal.
Right.
Let me explain what they were discussing in this video. In the third stimulus package, during the vote-a-rama, which you've heard me talk about a lot over the last 24 hours, the senators here put in, during the two-day vote-a-rama, a provision that said if student loan debt is forgiven at any time, you do not have to pay taxes on the forgiven debt. Let me go over the numbers for you because this is very, very, very important. If you had $50,000 of debt and it's forgiven by executive order this Friday by the president, and the third stimulus package had never become a law, how much in taxes would you pay? 33% if you're at your tax bracket of $50,000, $20,000 in taxes you would have to pay in just a blink of an eye. Huge, just enormous. If you were the 10% tax bracket, $5,000, you would have to pay a lot of money across the board. Under the third stimulus package law, you do not have to pay taxes if the student loan debt is forgiven. So this is huge, great news. This was, again, something the president did not do for you. This is something that the Democratic senators did do for you. They put it in there, and they got that to the finish line. It's important to understand that in the context of what we're talking with for stimulus, they want you to have multiple stimulus checks. The same people you're seeing in this video are the same people who want you to have multiple stimulus checks. The president has not talked about multiple stimulus checks. The president has not talked about forgiving student loan debt. They pushed it. Let's listen a little bit more.
Between blacks and whites who have student loan debt by 25 points, between Latinos and others by 25 points. There's not a single thing he could do on his own in one fell swoop to make that kind of difference. It would be historic.
It will. And the three of us have been trying to persuade the president to do this, because he can do it, as was said, with a signing of a pen. We don't need legislation. Boom. And your debt is forgiven, and you breathe easy. But one of the arguments some of the people around him are saying is, how could we do this? They still have to pay taxes on it. No more.
Not anymore.
Can't make that argument. So that's a help within, as we try to push the White House to go further, to do what we think they should do. This helps us.
Yeah, and
Now, one of the purposes of why this video is very informative and important for you in the context of forced stimulus is that you see three Democrats, senators, the same party as the president, saying we've been pushing him to do this for a while. We've been pushing him to do student loan debt for a while. It's important. Thank you, Bonnie J, for becoming a Purple Hawk. Everyone welcome Bonnie J to the family. It's important for you to understand that these are three Democratic senators who have been pushing since October of last year to get the president to do something for their party. And he keeps on saying no. He, for some reason, we really don't know why, 10 days ago, oh, thank you, Gloria, for becoming a Purple Hawk. 10 days ago, he said, all right, I give in. I will finally address the situation. I will finally have my Secretary of Education determine whether it's legally valid or not. He wouldn't even do that. He wouldn't even address the issue, let alone discuss the issue. Finally, that has come to a head. It's important to understand that in the context of multiple stimulus checks for fourth stimulus package, these same Democrats are pushing to do stuff for you. Meantime, Elizabeth Warren, she introduced her own set of videos as well, pushing the president to forgive student loan debt. Let's listen in to this video. Thank you, Fate's Dragon, for becoming a Purple Hawk. Let's listen into this big video from Elizabeth Warren, which came a little bit earlier, about a week earlier before the other video.
Student loan debt means there are lots of people who aren't moving out from their parents' homes, lots of people who aren't buying their own homes, and one of the other things the data shows, lots of people who are not starting their own businesses. And all of those things hold back our economy. And I make that point because I'm sure there are lots of folks who are on this call tonight who don't have student loan debt. But here's the deal. Even if you don't have student loan debt, You will be helped by seeing student loan debt canceled because it will help our economy. This is one of those things that doesn't have to go through Congress. The authority is already there in law for the president and his team, the administration, the Secretary of Education, to cancel out this student loan debt.
This is huge. This is what I was referring to earlier in the video. The president's determination this Friday from the Secretary of Education. Let me back up. The Secretary of Education this Friday will produce a memo requested by the president 2 weeks ago to determine whether he can forgive student loan debt. The president gave the Secretary of Education 2 weeks to do it, and that determination is due this Friday. That determination to forgive student loan debt is based upon prior presidents. Have they done it? In this video, Warren says Obama did it and Trump did it. Biden can do it as well. Matthew, thank you for coming to Purple Hawk. Everyone welcome Matthew to the family.
And President Obama used it to cancel some student loan debt. President Trump used it to cancel some student loan debt. I want to see President Biden use it. If he would cancel $50,000 in student loan debt, it would make an enormous difference in the lives of tens of millions of Americans and help build our entire nation a stronger future going forward. So, as you know, I'm all in on this one. And if we could persuade the president, we could do this one fast.
And there we are. More about that in a second. Two people have thank you, Lisa, for the super chat. Two people have jumped in the room, which I guess who have not watched any of the videos today. There's so far been 5 videos today in which I detailed to you the 4th stimulus, about multiple stimulus checks coming between July and December. And people have been jumping in the chat saying, I've never heard of this. Where can you answer my question? No one's answered my question. No, I've only had 6 videos on it so far today. I don't think I need to answer the question anymore. And there were 6 videos yesterday and 6 videos the day before. But I will briefly answer your question. Multiple stimulus checks, 4 stimulus checks. Someone even asked, is there such a thing as a 4th stimulus check? I heard it's the earned income tax credit. That's why you don't tune into that other channel. They don't tell you anything right. No, the earned income tax credit is on the 3rd stimulus package. Multiple stimulus checks, yes. If you did not watch mornings, LALATE, or noontime, catch them. They go into great detail, nearly 3 hours of programming today. I don't want to recap too much, but basically, stimulus package, as soon as the 4th stimulus package lands in the Senate, these senators are going to do a vote-a-rama over 2 days and modify the bill to put in their stimulus checks. 21 of 50 Democratic senators want to give you a stimulus check every month from the point at which it becomes law to December. That is confirmed. The eligibility is confirmed. All we have lacking clarity about is the amount of the monthly check. Word on the seat is $1,400 to $2,000 a month, and away we go. The eligibility is not an issue. $75,000 or less, you get these multiple stimulus checks. Household of 4 or less, you get the stimulus checks. SSI and SSDI, you get these stimulus checks. It would be done by Vote-A-Rama, Recon Path, and 21 of 50 Democratic senators want you to have it. The calculations are enormous. If they got this bill done by June and the checks out in July, every month from now to December is 6 checks. If it was $2,000 a check, it'd be $12,000. If it's $1,400 a check, it'd be $8,400. This is per person. But let's cut back to the shocking developing details about student loan debt forgiveness. If you're just joining me, this is what you need to know. This Friday, we're going to learn whether the President of the United States is going to forgive $50,000 of student loan debt per person. Yes, per person. Do you have to do anything? No. You just have to watch this channel. There's nothing happening between now and that announcement. When will the announcement happen? I think it'll happen on Thursday. Why Thursday and why Friday? Because 2 weeks ago, on a Friday, the president said, I'm giving 2 weeks to my education secretary to prepare a memo to determine the legal validity if I, as the president of the United States, can forgive your student loan debt by executive order. Without Congress, without a bill, without a Republican, with just the stroke of the pen, as Leader Schumer said, by executive order. as you just saw in that video from Elizabeth Warren, she said the president has legal authority to do it. It's been done before. She said it was done by Obama. She said it was done by Trump. And the president has legal authority, and the education secretary should do it. If Elizabeth Warren's correct, which she usually is, that announcement is coming this week and will say your student loan debt will be forgiven. Meantime, in this video, I reminded you how under the third stimulus package, during the Vote-A-Rama, the same event that will add your multiple stimulus checks for the fourth stimulus package, the third stimulus package's Vote-A-Rama featured the adding of an amendment that any forgiveness of student loan debt is tax-free. Remember, normally even a student loan debt that's forgiven is taxable and could cost you $10,000 to $20,000 of taxes, even if it was forgiven. But under the third stimulus package law, you do not have to pay taxes if the debt is forgiven this week. Elsewhere this week, the heat continued. This is what you need to know about this heat. It was 2 weeks, we're approaching 2 weeks from when the president made that determination to dispatch the education secretary. What happened earlier that day? This is key. This is very important. Earlier that day, Leader Schumer told Americans to email and call the president to forgive their student loan debt. If that sounds a little bit antagonistic, it is. From a Democrat to another Democrat, from a person who's trying to help one another, it's very antagonistic. Did it work? Boy, did it work. Boy, did it work. Because later that day, the president dispatched the education secretary to do that. And guess what? Leader Schumer has not let up on his push, because since that event, Leader Schumer has now since had more videos about the subject matter, pushing the education secretary to forgive that student loan debt. And that's including a Zoom video in which a whole host of people, Leader Schumer is on the right in the glasses with the American flag, Elizabeth Warren is dead center, and there's a couple of congressional leaders, and there's still other people in that chat that are students that have debt, jumped into the chat. Let's listen a little bit to what this latest video onslaught by Leader Schumer to get your student loan debt said and detailed.
Praise on another veteran. Since Argosy, my life has been in a great deal of turmoil and financial strife. As a direct result of Argosy University and Dream Center education, my life, my family and I were evicted. We were made homeless. My credit score dropped over 100 points. My car was repossessed. My oldest daughter's car was repossessed. And honestly, me and my family are still, to this day, trying to recover from all the damage caused by Argosy and Dream Center. I applied for a borrower's defense discharge when Secretary Pete Voss was in office, but my borrower's defense application was denied. Even though it was strong, I had some of the best nonprofit organizations and lawyers to help me fill out the forms and finalize everything, and it seems like she just rejected it flat out. Since then, my student loans were closed. I had a few student loans closed through PTD discharge, but the pain from my experience still follows me to this day. I was brave when I joined the military at 7.
Vendors would post up right outside the military gate and have just outrageous payday loans. And under a different Senate leadership, the Senate changed that and stopped that from happening. And we're going to work hard to do the same for people situated like you, because it is unconscionable that we ask individuals to go put their life at risk.
Someone just asked a good question. Tom asked, what if they decide to forgive the loans and decide not to give those checks as to pay for the loans? No, so the way this would work is they would forgive the loans would be ended, terminated, if your debt is under $50,000, and if the debt is over $50,000, then it would be recalculated at its new rate. Let's say you owe $60,000, then you would have $10,000 of student loan debt remaining. Great question. Let's listen to more.
and come home only to be suffering under the crushing effects of student loans. So I want to transition now to open it up for discussion. Leader Schumer, Senator Warren, Secretary Cardona, any questions?
Well, I just would like to ask, thank you for these amazing presentations. And here's what fills my heart. You each have so much potential, not only for yourselves, but for families, if you have them now or in the future, and for our country. And this debt is preventing you from going forward on that future in so many different ways: economic, financial, family, and even emotional and personal, where you just can't get it. So
another great question in the live chat right now. Sharif Shakir says, I've been in college for 2 semesters. How do I get loan forgiveness? Or do I have to wait till I graduate by the time the program will be over? Do I have to get the weekly amount they're saying? So great question. We don't know a lot about how they're going to work this, but it looks like it'll be anyone that currently has a student loan debt. So if you've actually had the debt, you've signed the documents, and you have a current debt existing, then it would be forgiven up to $50,000. We do not know any of the details. We do not know for certain. It covers both private and federal debt, but we're waiting to see those details.
I mean, my question is sort of, I guess when you started college, each of you had so much hope about the future. And now that hope has sort of been dashed.
If they forgave the debt, says Fate's Dragon, would that have an effect on our credit score? A forgiven debt means it's literally washed out. So whatever your credit score is now, the forgiveness of the debt would not impact it. So let's say you are currently in collections for your debt, and your credit score has dropped because of the collections, then your credit score would not improve because they're forgiving the debt. And let's say your credit score has not dropped. The fact that it is forgiven doesn't mean your credit score would drop. Your credit score would not be impacted by the fact that it's forgiven. So far, we've seen from the White House.
Cancel the $50,000 in student debt. Could you return to that idea of hope and potential, and I can get done what I want to get done to make a good life for myself? It touches me to hear your stories. Who wants to answer that? Go ahead, Kendrick. You're shaking your head.
Kendrick, who's actually up in the corner right, said, I'm having problems starting a business because of the debt. And it's ironic that someone in the live chat said exactly just that right now. Political Lil with a great comment says, if I get the student loan debt forgiveness, I'll be able to get into serious business because it's all that's holding me back. Wonderful, wonderful comment. I really appreciate that. The Pursuit of Happiness says, I have 150,000. So you will be reduced to 100,000 of debt if that is the case. What if my loan is 10 years old? Martha, Charles, it would be forgiven. If you're just joining me, the student loan debt would cover any, so far as we've heard. Now they can change this. These are politicians. They can change whatever they want to change. But so far it looks like they're covering both private and federal debt of any age, at any magnitude, whether in collections or not, so long as it's $50,000 or less.
Okay. Well, Senator, I think that for me, in my case, what was taken from me was so much more than financial.
Right.
I think the only
Gail just said in the live chat, my daughter's trying to buy a house but can't do it because of student loan debt. I'm 60. I paid off my student loan 25 years ago, says Dawn.
only thing that I would ask of our leaders and you guys is that we make sure that this doesn't happen. There doesn't have to be another Harrison family. I mean, we can fix this. I mean, we're at a time right now with the leader.
Jack just said, why can't people get help with financial aid for housing? Jack, if you need help with assistance for rent, utilities, food, mortgage, homeowners bills, or any of that, you need to get it right now. That's currently available under the third stimulus package law. It's law. Under the third stimulus package, the federal government gave money for rent, utilities, if you're a renter and you have utilities bills as well, and you need to get that. It's available at your city, county, and state. Also, if you're a homeowner, they have money for mortgage assistance, whether privately or publicly held. Also, homeowners bills like utilities and other homeowners bills. Those are available to city, county, and state. If you haven't got to them, reach out to your city, county, and state right away. They have different qualifications at each level. Finally, if you have problems finding it, reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page in the pinned comment description of this video. Let me give you the recap of this big Afternoons LA video, and I love the great comments that people had. A lot of people really were interacting quite well on this subject, which I've not covered in this detail yet. You saw that there was not one, not two, but 3 Chuck Schumer videos and Elizabeth Warren. There are actually a lot more than I could show you. Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer have been among those 21 of 50 Democrats who want to give you those multiple stimulus checks, so stimulus checks every month until the end of this year. They were 21 of 50 Democrats senators that are added with 100 plus Democratic House members who want you to have a stimulus check every month to the end of this year, and they're going to put it in the bill when it lands in the Senate in the vote-a-rama. That's the 4th stimulus package. Well, those 21 of 50 Democrats have worked hand in hand with a lot of other things. Among the other things they have done is doing the forgiveness of student loan debt. They've done it in a 2-prong approach. First, under the 3rd stimulus package, they have gotten rid of the tax implications. So if debt is forgiven, you don't have to pay taxes on the forgiven debt. Second, they've gotten the president, after pushing him since November of last year, and believe me, I've covered it since actually October of last year. I've covered it every single step of the way. It feels like it's gone on for ages. Since October of last year, they've been pushing the president to do this since day 1 of his administration. He didn't do it on day 1. Well, now it looks like he may be doing it on day 80 or day 90, because guess what? This coming Friday is the deadline from when his education secretary is set to make the announcement. Can a president legally forgive student loan debt by executive order? Elizabeth Warren says a president can, says that Obama and Trump have done it before. If she's right, that determination will say your $50,000 of student loan debt is forgiven. I'll have the big update all this week, and we'll be watching the details in a second. Meantime, coming up later today is a lot of surprises and a lot of fun and laughs. If you want a good laugh, then join me. Coming up at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time is a sirloin special, part 1. Then at the usual time is Evenings LA at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Then after that, at the usual time slot at 10 o'clock, is a double header of Sirloin, part 2 and part 3. We get to see how Sirloin first introduced himself to me back in September of last year. They're all throwback videos in which I first got introduced to Sirloin at the casino. And what was he doing when he was grazing on that front lawn? I have all the details from the $12 ice cream to the missing shades of lawn in the front yard. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Don't eat the lawn between now and then. Also, like this video. Consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. Today is the day to be a Casino VIP. And I will see you later as Evenings LA kicks up its feet, first with a Sirloin Part 1 special. And that's followed by Evenings LA tonight. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, and stay with LA for more.